what is destiny? Do we all have something that we are supposed to do, supposed to be, that will happen no matter what we do? Or are we in charge of our bodies, of our minds, of our path? But there can be a third option. They can be interlocked, because you see, when Achille in Iliad gets help from the goddess, he gets the help because he's already capable of doing it on his own. So the power that helps us be what we are in that mythology is outside of us. And I could say that in Christianity, it could be inside of us. The Holy Spirit is inside of us. So what we do is God's work through us, but it's in us. We don't get it from something, we get it within ourselves. So a couple of things I wanted to discuss. First is Hamlet from Shakespeare, and I have this gigantic book of all of Shakespeare's work. So I would like to talk about Hamlet and maybe read something just to feel how he writes. So first I wanted to say this, because he's so indecisive. He gets into trouble. And that trouble makes him act, because in that second he does not have a choice. He has to act. But in choosing his destiny, to kill or not to kill, to be or not to be, he is powerless, because he's alone. He does not have external or internal support, guidance, because that is Baroque. All the models and troubles that ailed the man, so he succeeded through them and got to God, to some power that gifted him ideas how to manage himself, that is all lost. We had it in Renaissance and now we are leaping towards it, but we don't have it. Another thing I wanted to say about Hamlet is that his craziness gets interlocked with his indecisiveness. So he, in some psychoanalysis sense, is sick, because his mind cannot cross the bridge over to doing. And on that point, I want to bring another character in, and that's Don Quixote. His mind can bridge that gap between thoughts and actions, but when he acts, he does not perceive reality as it is, but as his mind tells him it is. Hamlet's mind is indecisive. Don Quixote's mind decided, but on the wrong thing. But what can we learn from Don Quixote? That life, yes, while it has its boundaries, can be interesting and full of adventure. We can bend it, and maybe it will turn back to us in some way, but we can play. And one more thing that happened a lot later than these characters emerged is Yesenin, the Russian writer. I have this book, which is really nice, so it's in Serbian. And there is one thing about Yesenin that I like. He takes nature and makes it in a picture of what he's feeling. So when the winter comes, so does the ailment and the troubles. But there is one song from him where he says that despite all the troubles, there in the distance, he will hide happiness and inspiration. On that note, I wanted to say something about how I feel about destiny. I feel that there are multiple paths that have an end that is decided, but which path we take is up to us. So I would like to say that we should all read books like they are alternate realities, because in some sense they're deeply, strongly, everlastingly connected to reality. They're more than reality, they're the idea of reality. And sometimes dance around your room and sing songs about how you are a princess and your father wants to marry you off to someone you don't like. Dream. Don't forget you have imagination. That is the point. We can never stop thinking. There is an end, but there is so many steps before that end, and each little step deserves our attention. Now I want to read a passage from Hamlet and discuss it a bit and have my final thoughts. Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue, but if you mount it, as many of your players do, I had as a leave the town crier spoke my lines. Nor do not saw the air too much with your hand. Thus, but use all gently, for we in a very torrent tempest, and, as I may say, the whirlwind in the passion you must acquire and beg at a temperance that may give it smoothness. It offends me to the soul to hear a robustious, periwig-patted fellow tear a passion to tatters, to very rags, to split the ears of the groundlings, who, for the most part, are capable of nothing but inexplicable dumb shows and noise. I would have such a fellow whipped for enduring termagant. It our herds, Herod, pray you, avoid it. So here we can extract something from advice about how to be an actor to how to be a human in the real world. So when we speak, we must be calm, confident, and not too, as he says, robustious. So we cannot make ourselves seem bigger than we are and take up more space than we deserve and that we are gifted. We have to be calm, collected, and to give credit where the credit's due. So pronounce the words that are important very well. Sometimes fly over something that is like the shushing of the leaves in the autumn. And for my ending thoughts, I wanted to say, explore everything. Go for walks, read books, but many different books. Read fiction, non-fiction, poetry, prose, go to the theater, see paintings in a gallery, do yoga, do exercise, change up your outfits, your food, find new people by going to some events and be alive. Try to find what it means to be human for you. Those are my last thoughts. Thank you for listening, and I hope you like my content.